often get us down. Some ways simple, some profound, but I always have you.
Why do you think that the church right now, or maybe in the last decades, has not practiced well the lament as a form of our worship? When it's all, 1/3 of the Psalms. This is the hymn book of the Bible.
Oh man, now you're trying to get me in trouble, brother. It's not positive and encouraging.
Right.
You know, like this is the mantra of like Christian art, you know, is that we just make everything really superficial. And we just want, you know, I don't know. I could get really kind of jaded in that, but I think, you know, if we give the benefit of the doubt and we say, you know, lament and sorrow, it's messier. Do we really want to leave people in that, you know, very small fraction of the Psalms where we don't actually come up into praise? And I think that's where we see the danger. We see the danger of, on a Sunday morning gathering, we just, you know, we've been just beat down by the world, you know, and we just want to come, we just want to celebrate.
Yeah, right.
So I think that's good and right, and that we should celebrate, and we should also have space in our gatherings for those among us who are having not their best day, but they're having their worst day.
Yeah.
They just lost somebody, or they're just going through a valley. And I was reading a proverb recently. It was like, it was basically like, I'm going to paraphrase it and butcher this thing, but it was basically like, it's like grading nails on a chalkboard when you're going through something difficult and somebody's singing a happy song.
Right.
So how am I having compassion on that brother or sister? I'm not saying that we should bring the whole service down into this dirge kind of thing. You know, obviously, if only a third of the Psalms are lamentations, and that means 2/3 are songs of celebration and thanksgiving and praise. Yeah. So we need to be proportional.
Yeah, it's I hope this illustration works, but apparently that there are colors that humans can't see, but that other animals can see. So the color spectrum is wider than our red, orange, yellow, green, indigo, and violet. There's other colors that are out there that we can't see with our eyes. And so there's the spectrum of color. There's a spectrum of worship that I think that maybe the church has focused on this part, which is a good and appropriate and right part of worship. But there are other aspects that the Bible and that church history offer to us that maybe we haven't quite seen or touched on. And this may be a season where we are being called to do that, both personally as individuals in our own prayer life, as well as corporately.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons why we even started this conversation, Ryan, is because like we were talking about the importance of talking to one another about our crazy thoughts,
right?
And how important that is. And so I think that same kind of arc that we see in Lamentations of being like, man, this hurts, and just spewing out all the crazy. I mean, like David said some really wild things. You know, if you go back and read it, like bash babies' heads against the stones, that kind of thing is how he was feeling. Do we have evidence that that's actually what he did? Was this like a prescription of the Bible to go out, or was this describing how a guy felt when he felt in danger?
Right.
And so we have that directed towards the Lord, but also do we have that I'm not saying that we should spew this kind of stuff and vent all of our feelings to everyone. Like Solomon said, a fool vents all of his feelings. He was also a king, And so there's a certain level of intimacy that you can have as a king that you can't have with everybody. You have to have that with a very innermost circle of leadership. But we should be able to find at least one person who we can trust, that when we start to do kind of that lamentation arc, that person recognizes, okay, Ryan's not crazy. He's not going to act on these crazy thoughts. He just needs to do that arc of lamenting, addressing me, venting all this stuff. And then hopefully by the end of it, if that person is a good steward and a good friend, that they would actually be able to bring you back out of this thing into praise. And or just at least ask you questions that might get you back on the road of praise.
Yeah. Well, man, any last thoughts for God's people today on this? And we may follow up with something more later, but any other last thoughts today?
I said a lot.
We're glad you did.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, that's we could talk another time maybe.
Well, yeah. Well, just a couple weeks ago, I had that song I was listening to, and my tears don't come very quick for me. And I had this song I was listening to, and I was beginning to have, it was just really rich song that was touching me that day, and began to see a lot of the kind of those images of people and the pain that people may be going through. I was thinking about some people in our church right now who are going through some particular trials. It was the week of Angel Brittenham's funeral, and I just began to weep in this song, and was you happened to walk in just as I was kind of in the middle of that, and it could have been many of other staff members or elders, but I was grateful that you walked in and sat with me in that, and cried with me in that, and we need others to sit with us in those moments. So thanks for doing that with me that day, and hope that our people will find others who they can share one another's burdens, share one another's sorrows. Thanks for who you are, man. All right, peace to you, Broadway.
My God.